What is up, my fellow nerds? Welcome to Tales of Nerdia. Today we are talking about Chapter 360 of Hunter x Hunter. It's going to be the last chapter for a little while, but if you want to see me talk about the hiatus, check out the last video. Anyways, you probably noticed that there's no green screen behind me this time. That's because it's nighttime, and there was a thunderstorm, so I had no lighting. But we're going to make it work. I'm really excited to talk about this chapter, so let's go. So Togashi is teaching us a lot in this chapter about the hierarchy in the Royal Kaken family, how the bodyguards have been assigned. That's one of the first things we learn, because Kurapika finally gets the royal bodyguards to admit that they knew about the War to Succession, and they are asked, if they are actually there to protect Prince Wobble, which they are and they kind of aren't. So the way that works is that there have been 8 queens so far. So Queen Oita is the 8th. And that means that all 7 queens that came before her have assigned a bodyguard to her to kind of get intel more as surveillance. They are there to protect her, is what we find out. But they are there to make sure that she does not try anything, fishy to try and raise her rank in this hierarchy. So each queen assigns a bodyguard to the queens below them. Once another queen comes along, Oita will be able to hire her own bodyguard to protect her, and then she will assign a bodyguard to the 9th queen. And so will all the other queens above her. So the 9th queen will have 8 bodyguards. Oita will then go from 7 bodyguards to 8 because she'll now have to hire her own to protect her. Another very important thing that we learn is that these 2 royal guards that are being interrogated by Kurapika, they tell us that, it would be a crime for a queen to order someone to kill another queen, or to kill a queen or a prince, and even the princes killing each other. Really, any sort of assassination on the prince, any of the princes or the queens, is a pretty big offense. It is a crime. So, how are they going to have this War of Succession? Well, it's pretty much going to be just the Nen Beasts, these Parasite beasts. So there really isn't even much that the princes, the bodyguards, really anyone needs to do. These Nen Beasts are going to be the ones in action. One of these bodyguards actually calls the pot the Parasite Egg Jar, and says it's the Parasite Egg Jar ceremony. This is Kurapika's first time hearing about this. Oita doesn't really believe at first that it would give Wobble Nen abilities, and Kurapika has to calm her down, and he explains to her, it looks like these Nen abilities are activated through self-defense, and your emotions could activate it, and it could cause harm to one of us or yourself. So, chill the fuck out. And now Kurapika wants to assess, what could be the cause of these people, these bodyguards, dying. And he pretty much nails it right on the head there. He basically says either Wobble realized that he was in danger, these bodyguards who were actually there to protect him, but really they're there for surveillance, may have had an emotion of, now would be a good opportunity to kill one of these princes because they do know of the War of Succession. That could have activated Wobble's defense mechanism and caused his Nen Beast to come out and start killing off bodyguards. The other assumption that Kurapika makes is that one of the other princes sees this as a good opportunity and would take out one of the weakest, or what they believe is one of the weakest princes. This is actually the first time that we've heard about a Parasite-type Nen. When someone dies, if they have a strong conviction or a strong emotion attached to their Nen, we've heard of Nen sticking around, but not necessarily living off of its host. So the host is going to be the prince, and this Nen beast, this parasite, actually uses the aura and uses the Nen of the host, feeds off of that. And the one explaining this to us all is Bill. It was the name given in the translation that I read. And he is very knowledgeable about parasite types. He says, even though this ceremony only happened a month or so ago, it's not impossible for a parasite-type Nen. And Kurapika is actually surprised, and he doesn't know about Parasite-type Nen. I'm wondering how many people in the Hunter x Hunter world actually know about this. So Bill is going to become an asset to Kurapika. And now the moment we've been waiting for as they're discussing this new Parasite-type Nen, we get a first glimpse at one of these Nen Beasts. And it's like this little, you just see the eye poking out the side of this guy's head. But these guys look like little, kind of like salamander-looking things with a big eye for their head. And everyone's a little startled. Only the hunters can see it. The bodyguards can't actually see it. They're a little freaked out, like, what the heck is going on? And they turn around, and now we get a lot of different Parasite Nen Beasts. A total of 5 is what we see here. So you have the salamander-looking one. You have a jellyfish-type Parasite Nen Beast. Then there's that, I'm just going to call him Domo, because he looks like Domo-chan. We also have the dragon, and then out from the ceiling is like, it basically looks like a tapeworm, like if you look at its mouth. So I started doing a little digging and a little research on parasites, which I kind of wish I didn't do because they are gross. But yeah, that one definitely looks like a tapeworm. The jellyfish ones, maybe a protozoa, and the dragon was an interesting one because it looks like he kind of has a pig snout, and there's a lot of parasites that come from pigs, or really other animals. He also has kind of a fish tail. And then Mr. Domo-chan asks one of the hunters, are you free? Or are you available? And he just, oh, I'm kind of busy right now. And this is important, I'll get to it in a second, but it has to do with how parasites act. And these parasites not only are using their host, the prince, to gain Nen, which will actually kind of not really hurt the princes, but it's going to drain them of energy. They're going to feel tired. But the actual abilities of these Parasite Nen Beasts will have something to do with how parasites actually act. So it's possible that this tapeworm, you could see that the dead bodies that we found in last chapter, you know, they had holes bitten out of them, or I'm assuming, but there are flesh-eating parasites out there. You see that their skin is also very dried up, so a tapeworm kind of lives inside you, and it basically eats on the nutrients and the food that you eat. So maybe it's that this tapeworm kind of parasite really just drained them of all their nutrients and took big chunks out of them. But it could be another type of a parasite Nen Beast that we haven't seen yet. Now, I really love this panel where it's just all of the Nen Beasts just kind of dancing around, and the dialogue there says that the parasite egg jar ceremony has begun. So, it's Gu, G-U, and then there's the little translator's note there. It basically says, see Wikipedia. So I went to Wikipedia and I did some research, and here's some interesting things that I found. So as far as the meaning of Gu, it's like a Chinese drum. And if you look at the word Bangu, that is a Chinese flower pot drum. So pot, you know, we have that pot appearing a few times here. So then I started to look into the names of the princes, and let's go with kind of their surname, that Hu-Go-Ru, right? So first I looked up Hu, or Huey, or however you want to say it, and that is, it's a common surname, but what I found interesting on Wikipedia is that it is a Chinese term referring to a secret brotherhood. Very interesting stuff. I went a little further. The Guo, it could actually be pronounced in several different ways. One of those is quack, or a wok pot. Again, the pot shows up. It is also a common Chinese surname, meaning the wall that surrounds the city. So kind of a protector of the city. Now, when I look up just Ro, or Wow, however you want to say that one, I didn't really find anything on that, but when you combine them all, the Hugoro, I know I'm butchering that, so whatever. So that, altogether, their full last name, it's literally a Chinese dish, and it is twice cooked pork, but the literal meaning is return pot meat. Again, pot. So this pops up several times. So Togashi's having a little fun here with some wordplay, and I don't know how much we want to read into that. I did look a little further, went to the Hunter x Hunter Wikia, and found that actually all of the queens they have a number in their name based on their rank. A good example of an English one, Sevanchi, 7, Sevanchi, but all of them are from different languages. Also, the king himself, Nasubi, Nasu is a word for eggplant, and his head is shaped like an eggplant. So just a little bit of, interesting wordplay going on here. I looked up some of the other princes, like their first names, and I didn't really find anything on them. I did look at Benjamin, and, there's a lot of biblical context there. There was one about him being one of 12 or of 13 children, but we actually have 14 princes right now. But some interesting stuff. I may dig a little deeper on that eventually, maybe do a separate video on that, but I just wanted to share that with you guys because I did spend a little bit of time there researching some of that. So Kurapika calls up the homies, calls up the squad, and asks them what the heck is going on by them. Now, Melody, she says she hasn't seen anything, all is normal on her end. And she is actually protecting the 10th prince, which is Kacho. She's the one, she's one of the sisters, the mean sister, who is very controlling over her other sister. So none of these are probably hers. But then Biscuit reports that there were Nen Beasts in her area, but there are no longer. So these Nen Beasts, and she doesn't say just one, she says there were Nen Beasts. So several of these are floating around, kind of checking out the other princes, and Kurapika assumes this as well, that they're just kind of gauging, what the other princes are up to. Now, Biscuit also reveals that she knows what a Parasite Nen type is, and so she's more knowledgeable about Nen than Kurapika, which I guess would be expected. She's older, she's, pretty much a Nen master. But Bill himself is pretty impressive that he knows about this, and Kurapika pulls him and the Queen aside to talk to Bill and learn more about Parasite Nen Beasts. So Bill actually explains that it doesn't matter if you could use Nen or not, it's convenient for them, for Kurapika and the Queen, if the other princes can't use Nen, because then these beasts will suck up their aura, and the other princes will be unaware of this happening. Now, this would apply to Wobble as well, so the other princes, most likely Benjamin, I'm assuming, can use Nen, and I'm going to go ahead and say the 4th prince can use Nen as well. So if a user does know how to control their Nen, they can likely put themselves into a state of Zetsu to cut off the Nen flow in their body, or from Nen from coming out of their nodes, and that way the parasite cannot feed off of that Nen. So they could almost really turn off the parasite and turn off the Nen Beast, maybe. I'm just hypothesizing here. So while they still couldn't control that Nen Beast, they can almost stop them from using more of their Nen. Now, what I'm curious about with these Nen Beasts is if the other hunters can, because they know Nen, attack these Nen Beasts, and why did that not happen? Well, of course, Kurapika's first priority right now is to protect the prince, so he wouldn't just go rushing in attacking these beasts. He doesn't even know if any of them are the prince's Nen Beast. He can't tell. So Bill and Kurapika start exchanging some information, talking about their mission, what's best for the Queen, what is the plan of action, and they tell the Queen that you basically, of these 3 options, we need to, strongly consider these to come up with a plan. So what are these 3 courses of action? To me, what I gathered from the dialogue there was, 1 is to escape the War of Succession, which Kurapika kind of had planned the whole time as a precaution. Then the hunter, Bill, he is focused on keeping the Queen and the Prince safe, which essentially would lead to them winning the War of Succession. So that's 2 so far. And then the 3rd one, I believe, what I got from this dialogue was that the Queen would somehow get Kurapika close to the 4th prince. And that may be out of the question at the moment because of everything that's going on, but those are the 3 courses of action that I believe they're talking about, unless they haven't really revealed clearly what all 3 of those are. But while they're doing that, Mr. Domo-chan appears again and asks the hunter, "Let me know when you're free, okay?" And I don't know why he was not suspicious of this little character, this little creature, but apparently he says that he is free. And this seems like a restriction of this Nen Beast because it is very powerful. It basically takes over this guy's body, his mind, and controls him. He gets him to grab a knife, he stabs the 2 bodyguards that are being bound in the chair, as well as the other hunter that was with him. So the restriction of this Nen Beast is that you have to answer his question that you are free, you're available, and then he takes over your body, like a parasite would do. And finally, now they're going to try, Bill and Kurapika are going to try and stop this hunter who has clearly been taken over by this Parasite Nen Beast, and they want to take him alive. The hunter, Bill, actually is the one who proposes that, and Kurapika steps in, because Bill's looks like he's about to shoot him. Kurapika steps in and says he's going to stop him. They want to get information from him. And that, my friends, is going to be it for a while for Hunter x Hunter. Now, once they stop him, I'm wondering if we'll see the Nen Beast kind of come out of that guy and escape. Does it just turn off and evaporate like that? Or is Kurapika gonna try to destroy this Nen Beast? Now that there's only one around, the others have kind of disappeared, and it's just this one who can clearly change his shape because we saw him huge and then now he's just popping up on the guy's shoulder there. Is he gonna try and attack this Nen Beast? That I am unsure of, because he still wants to keep the prince and the queen safe. But that's it, guys. That's all I got for you this week. Hopefully Hunter x Hunter will return as soon as possible, but for now, go ahead and let me know, what do you think Kurapika's actions are going to be next? Is he going to try to destroy this Nen Beast? Is he just going to try and gather information? What'd you think of the chapter overall? Stay tuned to the channel. I do have more Hunter x Hunter content coming soon. But thanks for watching. I hope you stick around with the channel, and I will see you all very soon. Bye!